is we got a tragic shooting that took place in Seattle where we had 3 people end up being killed, and then we had 4 people injured. And we got 1 suspect who has been arrested, but 1 is still on the loose. So,
oh my God.
Overnight, a frightening scene in Seattle near the city's iconic Space Needle. A gunman opening fire Sunday evening, killing 3 people and injuring 4 others. The moment of the shooting captured in this live stream video.
Get down, get down, get down, get down.
I'm being told that the suspect may have an automatic weapon.
What happened here today at the Seattle Center was an unbelievable tragedy and a horrific act of violence.
Police say just after 6 p.m., fire crews responded to reports of a shooting during the Bite of Seattle Food Festival at Seattle Center.
Anyone have a small child tourniquet size? Small child arm tourniquet.
Vendors set up and families enjoying the evening when gunfire sent crowds running for cover.
I thought it was fireworks.
People sheltering inside of buildings around Seattle Center.
We were trying to run away, once we heard the shots. Everybody kind of just started panicking.
First responders rushing to the festival, attempting to revive 2 of the people who were shot, but both of those victims ultimately declared dead on scene. 4 other people, including a 2-year-old, were transported by firefighters to a local hospital after sustaining injuries. One of them later died. 1 suspect has been taken into custody, this video appearing to show that arrest. Police say another suspect is still on the loose.
That was also involved that fled the scene, and officers began an active search for that person. We believe that there were 2 people shooting at each other.
As we were
it's getting to a point in, I'm not going to stop it too much, but it's getting to a point where you can't even go out and enjoy your day with your family anymore. You're at a food festival thinking, okay, we're going to eat something good, spend too much money, but it's going to be a good time. And then out of nowhere, 2 people start shooting at each other. Not no fist fight. And they start shooting at each other, and they don't care who else gets hurt. Now, like I said, there's one of them was a young victim. I mean, not a young victim, but a young suspect. And he needs to be charged to the fullest extent of the law. And they have to hunt down the other suspect. That is the main thing that they need to be doing and caring for the victims. But let's keep going.
Trying to flee, we heard whoosh, like a big whoosh, right past our ears. And a bullet landed into the tree that was right next to us.
Ava Hendricks was at the festival with her family when the gunfire erupted.
It was very scary. And after the whole thing was over, and we're just waiting for the police to come. And we're just looking at each other like, how are we still alive? How did we make it through that?
And George, police tell us they still have a lot to figure out today, including finding that second shooter. They think the shooters were firing at one another. We just got an update from police. They say that those who died ranged in age from 19 to 56 years old. George.
And it was so close to one of the victims being at least 2 years old. But let's keep going into this next video and see what else we can find out.
Shortly after 6 p.m. last night, officers responded to the sound of gunfire. They were assigned to support Bite of Seattle and were on scene within seconds and took 1 suspect into custody. No police weapons were discharged. We believe that 2 people exchanged gunfire outside the Seattle Center Armory. 7 victims were caught in the crossfire, with a possible 8th. A 19-year-old man, a 44-year-old man, and a 56-year-old woman were killed. 2 died at the scene, and a 3rd passed away at Harborview Medical Center. Seattle Police Department detained a 15-year-old juvenile in connection with the shooting. The teen was booked into the Judge Patricia H. Clark Children and Family Justice Center for investigation for firearms violations and first-degree assault. We believe this teenager opened fire in the crowd, but details are still under investigation. At Seattle Center, we had an active investigation ongoing, including a continued search for a possible second suspect.
If he is truly the shooter, then he needs to be charged as an adult. It only makes sense. He shot into a crowd of people not caring who he hurt. It's a tragic scene. And who are you going to blame? Is it the 15-year-old? Is it the parents? Is it the environment that's creating these little monsters? 15. Taking people's lives. Let's get over to this one more video because the second shooter is still on the
Return to
loose.
Seattle now, where authorities are still searching for a second suspect. in a deadly shooting at a food festival. The other suspect, a 15-year-old, is in custody. Police say the suspects exchanged gunfire, and in the crossfire, 3 people were killed and 4 injured, including a toddler. It's a really crazy story. Our Anna Schechter joins me now. Anna, piece together what we know.
Well, we know it was an absolutely chaotic evening when probably more than 100,000 people had gathered for this food festival. Tons of young kids that you see from the terrifying video, cell phone video from witnesses, people pushing strollers. It was stroller after stroller, crush of people, so crowded. So the terrifying moments. But I want to widen the aperture because we're also learning about a gun violence issue that Seattle is wrestling with, that police officials talked about at a press conference today. You've got very young people with weapons and having disputes between groups of people. They fell short of calling it gang violence, but that's sure what it sounded like to me. So this 15-year-old is now going through the juvenile justice system, and there is another person who is out there. Now, if that 15-year-old was talking, was helping investigators, they would certainly have an idea as to who that other person is, and it seemed from that press conference they still do not know the identity of the other shooter.
It sounds like you need to threaten to throw the book at him. You're going to say he's going to be in jail for life, which hopefully you can get that on the table. Get him bumped up to being charged as an adult. That'll scare the life out of him. He'll start talking eventually, hopefully. I hope he's not just a hardened criminal at 15 years old, already willing to go to jail and ride for his friends, or no, this would be an enemy. I don't know why. Maybe snitching is the whole reason he's not saying anything, just the snitching culture. Either way, you need to put adults hard time on the table and see what he says.
That led to the gunfire start at the food festival, or were they just in the neighborhood, or how did it all go down?
It was right there under that iconic tower in Seattle, that, you know, that picture, like the postcard of Seattle, where everybody was gathered. There were hundreds of food trucks, and everyone was having a great time. It was around 6:00 p.m. last night, dinner time. People were buying food, eating, and there was music, and then people hear pop, pop, pop. They thought it was fireworks. And then as soon as people realized that it was gunfire, it was total chaos. People running, ducking for cover, jumping behind trees. And we know 3 people died, 4 injured. And now at that press conference, we learned of another person who was hit. And it's unclear that police declined to say if that person was also involved in the shooting. So just so many questions, Major.
Oh, that's a good point, because they did say there could be another injured person. Is that the person who is another shooter? But let's get over into this AI breakdown, y'all, just to wrap everything up for this topic. It's a tragic situation, and we got to do something to quell the violence that's happening in this country and around the world. I don't know if it's, especially with youth violence, juvenile violence. That's the main thing, because if we can get the kids to stop, we have some chance for when they grow up. But let's get over into this AI breakdown, y'all, to see what else we can find out. So we had a mass shooting happen at the Seattle Center during an annual Bite to Seattle Food Festival on July 26, 2026. Left 3 people dead, 4 people injured. A 15-year-old boy has been arrested and faces firearm violations, first-degree assault charges. Police are actively searching for a second suspect who fled the scene. So gunfire erupted around 6 p.m. at the crowded outdoor venue. Investigators reported that at least 2 individuals appeared to be shooting at each other. The deceased victims include a 19-year-old man, a 44-year-old man, and a 56-year-old woman. 4 others, including a 2-year-old toddler, remain in stable condition. So we know that the response was immediate. He responded immediately and recovered 2 firearms at the scene. Now, I did want to see if there was more details that we could hear about. And We know that the Seattle city officials revealed that no homicide charges have yet to been filed, as the investigators work to determine whether the victims were active participants in the gunfire or innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire. So are they trying to say that the 15-year-old? No, they can't be saying that. So the 15-year-old suspect is scheduled for a juvenile court appearance while he is accused of opening fire into a crowd. He is currently booked only on first-degree assault and firearm violations. Why is that? That's the reason he's not talking, because his charges aren't high enough and he's still in juvenile court. The second suspect, authorities have admitted that they do not have a physical description of him, fled the scene. Preliminary reports that the law enforcement sources suggest that the gunfire may have been linked to a group or gang activity. Well, are we surprised? No. Police recovered 2 handguns at the scene, and confirmation has been made that no responding police officers just discharged their weapons. So we know that the victims are at the hospital. The medical center confirmed that the surviving adults victims, 2 men ages 23, 27, and a 39-year-old woman, have been treated and discharged. The 2-year-old remains the only victim still hospitalized and is currently in satisfactory condition. Good. So the police are investigating the possibility of the 8th victim, a 27-year-old man who walked into the University of Washington Medical Center with a gunshot wound shortly after the incident. Yeah, you got to investigate him to see if he isn't that second shooter. Eyewitnesses describe hearing rapid popping sounds, thinking it was firecrackers. So the Seattle mayor defended the Seattle Police Department against the sharp public criticism regarding a 5-hour delay in holding a media briefing or releasing online updates after the initial shooting. Vendors returned to clear out the festival grounds on Monday, and they had a candlelight visual for the 3 killed people. It's a tragic situation, y'all. Hopefully we get that second suspect in here, but the real question is the 15-year-old going to be charged rightfully as an adult? And is he going to get some murder charges? Because 3 people died. And I believe the victims' families would want that. But let me know your thoughts, and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It's a crazy world, and this is why we have to review this type of stuff together, y'all.